Hey guys, we are going to be talking about some fails today. These are fails for me. I feel like I need to say this every time I make one of these videos, but these products did not work for me. If they worked for you, fantastic. That makes me very, very happy. But I just wanted to share with you some things that I just didn't like, didn't work for me, was disappointed in, or just flat out bad products. So I'm going to start with the Jones Road WTF foundation. And when I first tried this, I liked it. I like a light coverage. This has a very, very light coverage. I don't mind something that comes in like a jar or a tub like this. You know, it was okay. It was one of those products, and I've been saying this more and more in my videos, but there's so many products that I test out that fall in the category of like. I don't love them. I don't hate them. I like them. They're fine. There's really like not much more to say about them other than they're okay. And that's what I kind of felt about this. I was like, it's fine. It's okay. But I think what has really turned me off to it is that it has completely separated. So the texture of this foundation just really has not worked out for me. And I don't want to sit there and mix it up. If you're someone that doesn't mind, you know, you're going to scoop some out, you're going to mix it up or whatever, great. I'm not that person. It's too messy for me. It takes too long. I just want to sit down and apply my makeup and go. So that was really kind of the clincher. It took this product from like, okay, to not okay. So that's the Jones Road WTF foundation or what the foundation. I'm being very redundant there. The WT foundation. I know this works out for a lot of people. I know a lot of people really love like just kind of like the natural glow that it gives their skin. It kind of like just like very minimally kind of evens out any uneven blotchiness, things like that, because it does have a very light coverage. But I have a lot of other kind of like lighter type coverage foundations that I would much prefer to use over this. So unfortunately, this was a fail for me. The next fail, and you guys are not going to be surprised by this, is the Tom Ford Eye and Cheek palette in Raw Desire. You guys, first of all, this color story is very uninspired. At best, I thought, well, whatever. It'll be kind of like an everyday palette, and if the products actually perform really, really well, I thought, oh, this could be a really great like travel palette or something. The products in here do not perform well at all. I don't think. I think they're very hard in the pan. These are baked products. And I love baked products. I'm used to using them. I always know which brushes to use. But with this particular palette, it's not only like hard in the pan, it feels like it's a dried out clay-ish kind of paste. That's what this formula kind of behaves as. So once you get the product even onto your brush, I feel like it doesn't even blend out that well. I do feel like the shadows here, the four in the middle, they look fairly neutral in the pan, but they go onto the lids kind of warm. The highlight over here has no shimmer to it whatsoever. So it's meant to be a highlight, but it is almost, I don't know, it's almost like a powder. Like you could just use it sort of as like a setting powder. But again, the formula is so bad. It's too thick for that. There's just nothing really very redeeming about this particular face palette from Tom Ford. And I really love these face palettes. You guys know I have all of them. It's been very hard for me to let them go every time I declutter. But this one, there's nothing redeeming about this. Even the packaging, I think, is subpar from the rest of the face palettes that Tom Ford has come out with. This is like a matte white. So it just looks it looks kind of cheap, and the products are terrible. So that was definitely a big fail for me. So the rest of the products I'm going to talk about in this video, you can actually find them at Sephora. So I really wanted to make this video before the Sephora VIB sale starts on Friday for Rouge members. I have a recommendations video coming tomorrow, so definitely keep an eye out for that. And then I'm hoping on Friday to post like a shop with me video. But anyway, I just wanted to make sure that, on top of recommendations, I also mentioned these products that didn't work out for me. In case you're trying to hone down your list, trying to edit your cart a little bit, maybe some of these products are in there. Maybe I'll help you kind of think twice about them. But the first product I've already returned. It is the latest Gucci eyeshadow palette. And I actually posted this on TikTok, how I applied it. I thought it looked great. I was like, oh, wow, the shadows performed really nicely. They blended out beautifully. And I really liked the resulting eye look that I got. What was such a failure, and this happened to me maybe 2 more times I used this palette, the shadows just faded after like an hour or two. It was like I had never applied eyeshadow that day. It was like a magic act. And I don't usually have to put down a primer or like a glue or anything down on my eyes when I use just regular shadows. These Gucci shadows were just regular shadows. Some were like a satin, some were a matte. None of these were like a pressed glitter, anything like that. And it just completely faded. And it wasn't even like there was a lot of fallout or I could detect where the eyeshadow went. It was just gone. It literally was like a magic act. And it happened every single time I used this palette. So I just returned it. And like I said, I thought it went on really nicely, but it just didn't stay on. It was so strange. And like I said, I don't usually have that problem with eyeshadows. I'm like looking around my vanity, looking at all the eyeshadow palettes I have out. And that usually is not a problem for me. Usually it's like, I don't know, application or the colors, whatever else. But yeah, I don't usually have like a longevity issue when it comes to eyeshadows, but those were really strange. If you guys have that latest Gucci palette, because they've come out with one before, and the one before I still have, and I didn't have that problem with it. It's so strange. And then this latest palette, I had that problem. Very, very strange. So anyway, I wanted to mention that because it is an expensive palette, and if you were thinking about getting it, I think there are better ones out there, like the Natasha Denona My Dream palette, even the Huda Beauty Empowered palette. I enjoyed that one. I like the Natasha Denona one a little bit better, I will say. But both of those, I think, are better than the Gucci palette. Next up, I want to talk about this Patrick Ta Major Headlines Blush Palette Volume 2. Now, I had Volume 1, and I believe these are limited edition. Volume 1 was great. So I did not hesitate in purchasing Volume 2. Now, I'm actually not the biggest fan of Patrick Ta's like regular blush duos that he came out with, but for some reason I really liked the Volume 1 palette. I think maybe it was the shades. They were a little bit brighter. They were a little bit more unusual or interesting to me. Like I said, I just ran out and purchased this one because I thought, oh, fun. These are nice. There's something different about this formula, and I think it's because the powder products, and I think the cream product, let me say the cream products I think are the same. The powder blush is a lot, it's not, here, I just brushed my finger over it. I don't know if you'll be able to see what I'm talking about here, but the powder is so soft that it's almost chunky. Like it just comes off in like clumps. And this is me really like just lightly just kind of brushing my finger over it. I think maybe it's because these powder blushes have a little bit of shimmer in there, so the formula is going to be a little bit different from his regular powder blushes, which don't. They're kind of like a soft matte, and they're definitely a little bit harder in the pan. So yeah, they're just like a little bit more normal, like a normal kind of like pressed powder blush. Where these are just they're just too soft, and it ends up being kind of like messy when you apply them, and I don't like the little micro glitters that are in there. I don't think that they actually add anything. They just look like little pieces of like dust. It's just, I don't know, I just don't really like it. And I think these two colors, this is a highlight by the way, these two colors are very, very spring, so I thought it very interesting that he came out with these shades for the holidays. I mean, they're very bright and they're fun. So maybe that's what he was thinking for the holidays, but I would expect something just a little bit, I don't know, a little bit deeper. And then the cream highlight in here is basically clear with just the most subtle shimmer. It's super, super subtle where you can barely detect it on the cheeks. So this seems like kind of a wasted product in here. Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't like it. I didn't like the way the products performed, and I don't like the colors that we have in this one as much as I liked, as much as the first one. So anyway, this like is falling off of my finger now. So yeah, it's just really dusty, really, really dusty and really, really soft. And yeah, and I just don't think they perform very well. So anyway, that is the Major Headlines Blush Palette number 2, volume number 2 from Patrick Ta. So when it comes to blush palettes, I would recommend the Natasha Denona My Dream collection. I would recommend the Hourglass Elephant Ambient Lighting palette. There's just so many. There's so many really great like blush and cheek palettes out there that include a highlighter. Sometimes they include a bronzer. I would definitely go for those. This one's not that good. Not that good. I really wanted this to work. I really did. This is the Milk Makeup Future Fluid Concealer. It just makes my under eyes look old. And usually I can say, oh, it's sunk into fine lines. Oh, it makes my under eyes look dry. Well, this one I think that's the problem. It makes my under eyes look a little dry and a little cakey. I don't necessarily think that it emphasizes fine lines, but it just, I don't know, it looks kind of obvious underneath the eyes. You know, I like lighter makeup, and I like concealers that are almost serum-like, just really, really creamy. And I didn't get that with this. This was almost like a paint underneath my eyes, and I just didn't like it. There was something very unrefined about this concealer. It just kind of sat there, and as the day went on, it would just, yeah, it would just become more and more obvious under my eyes. And I just didn't like it. I'm so sorry, Milk Makeup. You have some really amazing stuff, but this, for me, is not one of them. I'm 49, so maybe this is meant for a younger set of under eyes, but for a 49-year-old, this did not work for me. In my recommendations video, I talk about the Dior concealers, which I've been talking about for like years now. Those concealers are incredible, both the Forever Skin Correct Concealer and the Backstage Concealer. I actually have the Backstage Concealer on today. Those are lovely. Those are really, really great concealers, I think. So I would go for those instead of the Milk Makeup. This one, I had a really hard time putting this on the list, but I just had to talk about this. So this is the Merit Flush Balm in Beverly Hills. And this is Merit's bubble cream blush. I was really excited to try this out. I love a bubble cream blush, as you guys know, and I love cream blushes. This shade is beautiful. I liked the texture of the formula, but much like the Gucci eyeshadow, within an hour or two, this blush was gone. It was like a magic act, completely gone from my cheeks. And it was one of those moments where it was like, I thought I put blush on. So when I could see this blush on my cheeks, I thought it was really lovely, but I really wish it had a little bit more staying power. There's just so many great like cream or liquid blushes out there. Yeah, this one just really isn't as good as those, like the Say Dew Blush, even the Tower 28, those cheek and lip products, the Westman Atelier sticks, like all of those cream blushes are incredible and they have decent staying power, and this one didn't. So I'm sorry, Merit. You have incredible, incredible products. In fact, one of your products is in my recommendations, the Signature Lip. As you guys know, I love that. But that one did not work for me. And I have dry skin. I have really dry skin. So I don't usually have a problem with cream products kind of like breaking up because of like the natural oils in my skin kind of coming throughout the day. So I don't usually have that problem. And I tried this a few times, over powder, under powder, you know, the whole thing. It just fades. It fades very, very quickly. So that is the Merit Flush Balm. And speaking of Say, because like I just mentioned, their Dew Blush is incredible. I highly recommend that. But the Say, what are these called? The Lip Blurs. These aren't good. These are really, really dry. Just really dry. They're kind of like the Milk Concealer, where they just sort of like sit on top of my lips. They just don't do anything for my lips. And I know they're meant to blur. I don't think they were necessarily blurring. I just found them to be really dry, really uncomfortable, really kind of like just sat on my lips. You know, they didn't make my lips look, you know, any better. Like, it just isn't a great product. And these remind me of the Glossier lip product that I had the same issue with. Just a tad too dry. They kind of drag when you put them on. And you guys reminded me what the Glossier product is called, and I've already forgotten. Generation G? Is that it? The Generation G lipsticks or lip whatever? Those, very similar to this. If you like those, you'll probably like this. But if you did not like those, I don't think you're going to like these. So Say has some incredible products, but this is not it. Like, I love, love, love their loose powders, you guys know. I keep talking about their Dew Blush. They have some great stuff. Just not that. Just not the lip blur. All right, and last but not least, the Natasha Denona Mini Bronze Palette. Now, maybe this is my own fault, because, you know, you can see it in the pan here, but the eye look that I got after using this was so orange. It was just so bright, like pumpkin orange, that I was like, wait, do I see that? You know, I see a little bit of it obviously with this one, but this one I thought was a little bit more of like a burnt terracotta, that we have brown, like this neutral, and a gold. And for some reason, it was like no matter what shade I used, I ended up with a really, really orange, not bronze, but like copper kind of eye look. Like, I don't mind a warm eye look. I think that sometimes they look great. Depends on your outfit, depends on your mood, whatever the case is. But this just seemed like a little deceptive from what I could tell in the pan. So that is the mini bronze palette. Now, if you like a super warm eyeshadow palette, this one may be for you because the quality of the shadows were like Natasha Denona quality. I thought they actually performed really, really well. It's more of the color story that I'm not really a fan of. And I think I'm gonna get that baby gold palette, the one that looks like an ornament. It's got 3 shadows in there. I think it's $19. So anyway, definitely check out my shop with me video that'll be coming out in a couple days, because yeah, I think I'm gonna be picking that one up. But anyway, those are all of my fails, all of my disappointing products. Let me know what some products have let you down in the recent past down below in the comment section. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.